What is up? It is Miguel from Run With It, and you are here for another episode of Art Can Change the World. It's where we interview artists and those who work in the arts world to hear stories about how art can actually change the world. And we're having a blast. I'm here with my friend Jeffrey Means. And Jeff, why don't you tell them what you do in the arts world?
Yeah, Miguel. Hey guys, I'm Jeff. Jeff Means. I'm with Kansas City Cider Company to start. I'm starting with that for a reason. I've got this pet peeve that I hear all the time. My friends say, I don't art well. I'm not good at art, right?
I don't art well.
I don't art
that should
well.
Be a hashtag.
It should. I think it is. I think it is a hashtag. But I think that is totally wrong. I think that's BS. I do believe, and I've been thinking about this a lot since you asked me to do this interview. I've been thinking a ton about like what is art, you know?
It's gonna get deep.
It is gonna get deep. It's gonna get deep. It's gonna get deep. You know, I really do though think that art is any act of creating for the sake of expression. And the more I think about it, the more I believe that. And I think a lot of people think, since I'm not a musician or a sculptor or a poet or a painter, I'm not an artist. I think they're wrong. I think whatever it is that they do to express themselves, if it's creating or if it's thinking about creating, man, you're arting right now. You are doing art and you're doing it well. And so Kansas City Cider Company is a company that I started with two of my very good friends. Actually, one of them is my brother. And we actually express ourselves by making artful, crafted, alcoholic ciders.
Nice.
Yeah. And it sounds funny, but like really, like we're on a mission. While we're pressing apples, we're really focused on trying to express Kansas City. And it's actually even in our mission, we talk about Kansas City is this unique place in the United States. And we want to express that through our ciders. And I know that sounds funny, but it's the truth. And then I think the more regular thing that I do in the art world is I'm a singer and a songwriter for a Kansas City-based alt rock band called the Shameless Pursuit. Been around for a couple of years. Put out an EP a little over a year ago in October of 2015, and then just been touring regionally since then, and getting ready to potentially go back in the studio soon. We haven't decided, so still figuring that out.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and it's cool to hear this idea of arting.
Arting.
How did I emphasize it? Do you art?
Do you art?
Because that is one big reason I asked you to be part of this, because I love what you guys do with Shameless Pursuit. We've shared the stage before, but watching you guys do the storytelling of the KC Cider Company on Instagram, I've been like, man, there is this artistic expression coming through it. And I'm kind of a nerd. I kind of believe that art can be expressed in so many ways. In fact, I used to do a roofing company, and I remember one day I was talking to a crew about the art of roofing, but they're like, dude, you need to just shut up, right? You need to shut up. I don't know if I took it too far, but there was symmetry in it, and I was like, there is a beauty here.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, so. I'm not saying that like your McDonald's rib sandwich is, speaking of art, is art. I'm not saying that, but I think a good sandwich could be,
Yeah.
And, I don't think we should get carried away with it, but.
Yeah,
I think that's
but important. Exploring it is huge.
Yeah, and we're creative beings. And what separates us from other animals is that we have this abstract creativity, and with that, kind of paradoxically, we have an innate desire and drive and passion to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think you could argue pretty much everything we do is surrounding that idea. So
I love it, man.
We just got deep.
Getting deep. So, let's transition into this next idea. Would you share maybe one or two stories about how art has impacted you personally?
Yeah, for sure. Man, it's tough. It's tough to choose one. I can just generally say art has been around me since I was born. My mom would sing all the time. My brother was a very, very talented drawer, and he'd draw and he'd sing and he'd play music when I was a kid. So I've been surrounded with it my entire life. But actually, just recently I had a really cool experience that I don't think I'll forget anytime soon. I went on a trip by myself with my motorcycle just around the country just to, you know, get away from business, get away from, you know, everything, get away from the band and just kind of think and meditate for a while. And while I was out there, I found myself caught in a storm in western Colorado. There was like a really bad one. And when you're on a motorcycle, like, you know, a few raindrops is kind of like, oh crap, like what's going to happen? But this was like a legitimately, like even in a car, you would have been, you know, struggling. So I finally get to this gas station though, and it kind of lets up. And this lady walks up and is talking to me. Because when you're on a motorcycle by yourself, people just talk to you. I don't know.
Like, he must be cool.
He must be cool. I'm talking. Yeah. So she started talking to me, and she had this like little, like booth area outside. Because this is like in the middle of nowhere. So she's like selling trinkets or whatever out there at the gas station. And she came up to me. I obviously was soaking wet. You know, probably not in the greatest mood. Just being honest.
Like not really cool right now.
Yeah. But what she said, like, man, what she said is like, oh, okay. She walked up to me. She's like, hey, you enjoying that art out there? Like, that's seriously what she said.
Wow.
It's like, enjoying that art? Like, what are you talking? She's like, yeah, it's like, you know, that hailstorm you just drove through. It's like, huh? But like, you know, at first it's like, man, this woman is crazy. I don't know why she just said that, but the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Yeah. And it totally changed my perspective. And, you know, I still, you know, got a cold and still was, you know, not feeling great, but it definitely changed my perspective. And it actually changed my perspective on the rest of the trip. Is kind of a turning point for me to really get a lot more out of that time by myself and coming back rejuvenated and ready to go. So that's just a recent time that art has, you know, kind of changed the direction or changed my perspective.
That's awesome. Like finding art in each moment.
Yeah.
I think I'm so focused and driven too often. I feel like I miss a lot of those things. So that's a great reminder just to kind of look around and see the art, the arting that's happening, if you will. Would you mind sharing a story now where you've seen art impact or change somebody else?
Yeah, this one is actually about me and a couple other people. But I play this game with two of my really close friends where, you know, we'll I think on a local radio station they play it all the time. It's called The Hookup, and basically it's you play a song and then the last letter of that song, the next person has to choose a song that starts with that letter. Nice. Right? So it's just a fun song. It's a fun game to, you know, share music with people and find this interesting weird stuff from your past. And anyways, we decided to, one night we were just kind of hanging out and talking, and we were having a particularly philosophical night, and we decided, you know, instead of playing that game, let's just all go around one round on our phones or whatever, play one song that means a lot to us, that like got us through a really tough time, and then tell a story about it. Just one round, 3 guys around a campfire, 15 minutes. So about 3.5 hours later, our phones were dead. You know, we're like humming songs to each other at that point because, you know, and 3 grown men who have known each other, were very good friends, have known each other for years and years and years and years. All of us walked away in this like really deep companionship afterwards. It's just 3 grown men with beards on the verge of tears around a campfire, which is not a pretty scene. It's not a pretty scene, but I walked away, the 2 of my best friends, I walked away knowing their hearts in a way that I never thought I would. I think that's the beauty of art, is that it's a great unifier, and it allows people to speak to each other in ways that words alone just don't do a very good job of. And that's what we experienced that night. And man, I can't wait until I have that experience again.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing that, man. Thanks for doing the interview with us. And go ahead and let our followers know where they can find out about Shameless Pursuit, KC Cider Company, all that kind of stuff.
So KC Cider Co. or Kansas City Cider Company. We're on Facebook and we're on Instagram at KC Cider Company on Instagram, at Kansas City Cider for Facebook. You can also find us online, kcciderco.com, and then the same with the Shameless Pursuit. We didn't get very creative with our handles. It's at the Shameless Pursuit. All across the board. Yeah, except for Snapchat, because that was too many characters. So it's at TS Pursuit, all you Snapchatters out there. Yeah, other than that, that's how you can find us. Appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for watching. More to come from the Art Can Change the World series.